Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm Fabian for Liberty, fabianforliberty.com. So we hit a major milestone here in America just a few days ago, and that of course was the U.S. deficit or debt up to $18 trillion. In fact, it's up 70% under Obama, who when he came in 2008, the debt was around $10 trillion. But, you know, when you run trillion-dollar deficits for the first 4 years of your presidency, and then add a bunch of other Obamacare and reckless spending on top of it, yeah, you get an unsustainable debt. Now, this is important because, and let me just say real quick, the Bush administration racked up debt like crazy as well. So this isn't a Democrat-Republican thing. Both of these parties, I believe, this is a concentrated effort in making America and Americans, in essence, debt slaves. And that's how they will be able to exercise more power and influence and control over those that are in some way dependent on this system. Now, very important, I think, is that the 18 trillion in debt actually signifies the end game for this current business cycle. Now, if you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I've said that we probably still have a couple more years. I think the Dow will hit 20,000. I think that we're clearly seeing asset prices across the board dramatically increase. I mean, to give you an idea, in the last couple of weeks, they've sold over $2 billion of fine art, contemporary fine art. So the super ultra elite who have access to 0% money from the Fed or from other big banks can then go out and speculate, and they could have asset prices across the board go up in value. Now, this is really important because I did a video the other day about the Fed basically reneging on its pledge to increase interest rates. I said back then that was, you know, another end game sign that that they already know. I mean, this is already well known that if they increase the deficit, increase the interest on the debt, let's say it went up to an average of 4 or 5%, we'd be looking at close to a stimulus package a year in just interest spending. That's it. Over $1 trillion a year just to service the debt. So the Fed can't raise interest rates without causing an extraordinary burden on U.S. taxpayers, because someone has to fit the bill. They just can't repeatedly keep running these major deficits. And why is that? Well, the linchpin to all of this is that America, as you well know, has the world reserve currency status. So unlike Japan, who has a huge, gigantic deficit, other countries actually need to use the dollar to buy stuff. And when you have the dollar being printed over and over and over again to make up for the lack of investor demand to buy U.S. treasuries, or for the lack of, mostly that, or for, you know, spending money to buy up the stock market, what have you, countries like India and China and Russia and Brazil and others get a little freaked out because they feel it most via inflation. So here's the thing, is that it's important to recognize that we're not, in my opinion, we're not going to see any real measures under Republicans, because Republicans know if the Fed goes in, raises rates, it's going to crash the economy. It's going to be a new Great Depression for the unsuspecting masses who are going to get wiped out. I mean, people that, you know, that I speak to that know what's coming, that are getting ready for this stuff, I think will do pretty well. But clearly they are taking the system that was once the greatest free market capitalist system in the world, and via debt, they are destroying that very system for they can then have power and control. Now, I'll say one more quick point here, is that the elites, the connected elites that I talked about earlier that have access to 0% money, it's really important to know that they are literally right now sacking the U.S. Treasury. These people are stealing money hand over fist. Now, whose money are they stealing? Because if you remember, government has no money. Government just has the ability to, in essence, wage force to take our money. You know, if I go work a 9 to 5, or if I, you know, sell a product or whatever it may be, that's the fruits of my labor, of my ideas, what have you. But see, government comes in and says, no, we're going to take that money from you. Keep in mind that, people are so clueless when it comes to the progressive income tax, just the fact progressive should give it away, and also the fact that it's part of the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto. But prior to the income tax, America financed itself on tariffs from imports that were coming in to the country. We could do that today. But no, instead, and that's what our founders wanted. But no, instead today, what we're doing is we allow multinational corporations to pay 0% in tax rates. We have people like Warren Buffett who come out and he pays capital gains, so he pays less than 10%, but he wants to raise taxes on the middle class. It is such an incredible scam, and so many people fall into this trap of thinking, oh, well, the rich will just pay for stuff. Well, the rich are likely going to leave the country. Because I don't know about you, I've never been employed. When I did have jobs about 15 years ago, I had about 7 jobs from the time I was, about 10 jobs, from the time I was about 16 to maybe 20, 21. And I was never employed by a poor person, just saying. In fact, I was poor back then, and I'm glad that I had a job. But this government instead wants to punish those that are the actual producers. And the ones pushing this are the ultra 1% of 1%, that again are ransacking the U.S. Treasury and scurrying off to their castles in Switzerland and in Belgium and wherever else they may be located. So that is the milestone, the huge milestone of $18 trillion in debt. Likely will be over $20 trillion by the time Obama leaves office. And again, what are the Russians and the Chinese and other countries around the world? They're all freaked out. Is it why they're buying gold hand over fist? I don't know, but if I was them, I'd be freaked out as well. Thanks for watching. Again, FabianForLiberty.com is the website. If you enjoyed this video, leave me a comment or a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. I'm out.